Sup y'all, hello my fellow South Africans, hope you're doing well. It's been a while. So continuing our talk about the Constitution, I thought we'd delve into a new situation that's come about in the form of the Phala Phala Investigation. Quite fascinating if you ask me. The president gaining a couple of $500,000 in Forex, quickly stashing it in his furniture and forgetting to report it over 2 years' time. Interesting case, if I say so the least. Where did the money come from? What was it for? Why put it in the furniture in the first place? Well, I for one don't trust the banks nowadays. Maybe that's the reason, I don't know. That's a lot of money after all. And there's a couple of times in the past where people kept their money in the mattress, so to speak, if you know what I mean. So why did the courts throw it out? Corruption, fraud, liking the president maybe? I don't concur with that conclusion. Remember what I said in the first part of this series. The Constitution and the legal frameworks are rare and unique documents, and they need to be worded very carefully, very, very carefully. And the issue with South Africa is we have not touched those documents really since their inception in the 90s, because we are so afraid of letting anybody touch those documents to change a single hair on them. But that's not the point. You don't have to change the law on the Constitution or change anything, but you have to revise them, update the language to modern times so that no exploits and illegalities can be found. Because I can tell you now, the exploits and loopholes in our Constitution, like I said, I'm going to go through it with y'all, but yeah, having gone through the Constitution, I can see why the Phala Phala case has not been pursued, because it will be very difficult to find anyone guilty or to make the case stick legally. How? By the wording of the Constitution. How? Let me explain. Section 89 and 91 for the president. How are you going to prove serious misconduct and serious violation? Serious according to who? You see, like I said, every drop of ink on that page is legal. But if the drop of ink on that page is not legally defined according to set parameters, then legally and ambiguously it is open to the broadest of definition and context it can be. In other words, it can be defined by the user and in the eye of the beholder. So serious misconduct and serious violation according to whom and which context can be defined by the person or persons looking at it. So, if the courts or even the perpetrator feel it is not a serious violation or serious misconduct, then it is not. If you feel it is, well, good for you. That person doesn't feel it is, good for him. There is no definition put alongside that definition, so it is not. All it states in the Constitution is the president may not make a serious violation or commit serious misconduct. But according to whom? What is a serious violation or serious misconduct? Apart from that word, nothing else is stated. Nothing. There's nothing there. It doesn't say what is a serious violation or what is serious misconduct. That's the issue with the wording. It's open to massive interpretation and massive context issues. That's the problem with a lot in our constitution. And wait until we discuss tenders, why the people involved in our tenders can't face any consequences. Because let me give you a preview. You have the right to adequate housing, by the way. Adequate according to who? You or the one that built your house? Because adequate can be 4 walls and a plastic roof, you know. Now, Section 91 says technically this was a private matter and not in the line of the president's official duty. So if you're looking to nail the president of the country under this Phala Phala investigation, highly unlikely you'll be able to get the president himself in trouble as the president of the country. No, the president of the country will face no official charges under this because, like I said, under Section 89, you won't be able to prove serious misconduct or serious charges because by whose definition? And it was not an official duty. So, he did no misconduct under official duty, technically. You will, however, possibly be able to make a case as a normal citizen, as even Cyril Ramaphosa is not above the law when it comes to normal citizenship. For that, you'll have to go over the FICA laws and the regulatory laws. But then you'll also have to look at time constraints, how long you have to report a crime, how long the jurisdiction is on time, and reasonable time constraints on private investigations and stuff like that. It's a very complicated mess when it comes to own investigations and fraud and stuff like that. In the end, like they say, the reason that they did not want to prosecute is for a whole lot of reasons other than favoritism, so to speak. The odds of getting full convictions is a lot more factors than just favoritism. It has to do with the time, 2 years after it was done, only reported then, not a lot of actual evidence other than testimonies, and yeah, it's difficult, a lot more difficult than people make it out to be. I think this is just an overreaction because of anger and hate towards the situation, but if you look at it clearly and with evidence, and with the Constitution's rules and the laws, it would be a lot more difficult than people realize to get any conviction, especially with the wording and ambiguities at play. You have to look at time factors, legal wordings, law. It's not going to be so easy. The defense can bring up a lot to get the people scot-free. And you have to argue a lot more than the defense. The defense can simply say, and you have to, yeah, testimony. Testimony is circumstantial, boy. Not physical. Nope. They can simply say, but my private team was on it and they didn't feel it necessary in the time scale, so it wasn't that serious. And then you say, but what? What constitutes serious? I didn't feel it necessary. At most, I think, from what I gathered, you can maybe impose a fine. If that's what you're aiming for, to give a fine out, cool. But if you're looking for hard time or for the president to step down, no chance. All you're doing is wasting taxpayer money. You can't get the president on this, not according to the Constitution. And why is that ultimately? Yeah, because of two things in the Constitution. Separation of power. There's a clear distinction between private matters and presidential matters, and this is private. So while you might be able to get him as a citizen, you can't get him as a president. So yeah, like I say, you can fine him for having the forex, but you can't link it to his presidency as it was not in his official duty. So you can't link the crime to his presidency. So that's out of the jurisdiction. And secondary, the burden of proof lies with the testimony, the people that brought the testimony. In other words, the whistleblower, so to speak, that says they saw the money or says they reported it late. So they have the burden of proof to prove the case. Nobody else. So, in conclusion, in the future, after this series, we might have to look at the Constitution. Even if we change no laws, there are a lot of these terms and wordings that are open to a lot of loopholes. And if people understood that, yeah, you'll know what I mean when we explore this. And yeah, unfortunately, it's not so straightforward to get convictions anymore because of these loopholes and open interpretations. Hence why it's difficult to get convictions, and the court knows this. Which is why I often wonder if our higher-ups and leaders know the flaws in the Constitution, and why they don't tell us and why they don't fix it. It is exactly because of these loopholes that we can't fix a lot of problems in the country, and why people get away with this stuff. Because it's open to interpretation, and people can get away with it. Especially in the fields of tenders and social services. Anyway, have a good day.